Hard techno, especially lately, everything has been like about hard dance, whether it's like reverse basses or side basses. What I want to go over is how to make a side bass. So what I typically do is anytime I'm working on making like a side bass, I like to have like a reference. So I have this like Cashmere side bass loop. So that is sounding really good. I love the way this sounds. I want to make my own side bass in Serum. This side bass is in E, so I'm gonna go ahead and make a MIDI clip, and I'm gonna play 16th notes at E. Let's drop them down a few octaves. We'll duplicate this across so we have a full bar of 16th notes, and this is what it sounds like. Not very good. So the next thing I want to do is open up this plugin called Psyscope. I'm going to put a Psyscope on the reference side bass. We'll call this reference side, and we'll call this Serum side. This Psyscope plugin is so awesome because you can open it up and it's like a really useful oscilloscope. This Cashmere side has a little bit of a messy waveform, but I just love how it sounds. Let's go ahead. We have Psyscope on our Serum. So the first thing I like to do when I'm making a side bass is I'll go to Oscillator A and I'm going to turn the random all the way down. And the reason why I want to do that is if we open up this Psyscope and let's make this envelope 1 a little shorter. If we have the random phase all the way up, you can see that this waveform is actually moving around. And that's not going to give us a consistent sound. So what we're going to want to do is turn the random phase down. So then if we look at Psyscope again, the waveform starts at the same spot every single time. So we're going to have a really consistent sound. So the basis of a side bass is just a low plucky bass. And so how we can get that pluck is by running this waveform or running these oscillators through a low pass filter. So a low pass filter is just a filter that cuts off the highs and it allows the lows to pass through. So we're going to turn on our low pass filter. I like using MG Low 18. The waveform is getting less sharp, and that's because we're cutting off a lot of those highs. It's looking a lot more like a sine wave. What we can do is start shaping this side bass. So what we want to do is, first, I like to start with the actual envelope. So I'm going to take the sustain all the way down, make sure the release is at something kind of short, and take the decay short enough to where the waveform is ending right before the next one starts. So I like this at 90 right here. Then what we want to do is we can take envelope 1 and drag this on the cutoff of our filter. And then what I want to do is take the resonance down all the way. And so all I'm going to do is really just play with this cutoff and play with this modulation until I get a sound that I'm starting to like. So if I'm listening to this reference side, sounds like there might be 2 layered on top of each other, one being an octave higher. Let's play around with this. And this is just all like part of my process is I'm just gonna like experiment. So I'm gonna experiment with different waveforms. So I really like how that sounds. So maybe we want to add that saw back. So I'm going to turn on Oscillator B, make sure the random phase is all the way down, drop it down an octave, and then I'm going to go back to this filter and make sure that B is selected because we also want Oscillator B to be running through. And that's sounding really good. Like I really like that tone. It just sounds nice. So let's throw a sidechain on and real quick, just see where we are. And that sounds really good. Something that I want to do is create like a little zap transient in the beginning. So the way I like to do that, it's kind of complicated, but I've really liked the results that it's gotten. I'm going to take LFO1. I'm going to make a really like short pluck and I'm going to put this on envelope mode and I'm going to open up the matrix, take LFO1, route this to global master tune. And then when it says type, I'm going to change that from unipolar to bipolar. Now, that's making a very short pluck, but what I actually want to do is turn off that saw, and actually I'm just going to use the saw from the sub to replace that first saw. I'm gonna take this LFO1 and map this to the coarse pitch of oscillator B. Yeah, there we go. Now we have like a nice zap. Let's take this LFO2 and put it on the level of oscillator B. So now we have this nice zap in the front. And then what we're gonna do is take LFO2 and also put this on the level of oscillator A, but we're gonna reverse it. So we have it on oscillator B, so the zap is turning on and then shutting off real quick. For oscillator A, we want it to be off, and then oscillator A turns on real quick. So if we look at Psyscope, if we zoom in, you can see we have this nice clean transient in the front, and then that transitions to our PSY really quickly. So let's do the same thing for the sub oscillator. So we have this nice clean zap, and then it transitions right into our PSY. So what we can do is go to LFO2 and we can speed this up. And that's looking really good. Like that goes from this nice clean zap and just goes right into the PSY bass. So let's play around with this envelope 1. Ooh, let's zoom in. We can add some detune on oscillator A. And what we can do is let's go into the matrix right where we have this modulation on LFO1. I'm going to map this to macro 2 and this other modulation for LFO1, map that to macro 2. So now we can adjust the intensity of the beginning of this pluck. Let's try adjusting this wavetable. And this is why I like having random phase. Right here, we can move this phase so it connects like perfectly. I actually like that. Let's just keep that. So now on to the effects. Typically, I'm just gonna use my ear. Like I already really like how this sounds. So I think what I'm gonna start with is a compressor. And I have this preset called Easy OTT. And then I'm gonna turn on the filter. And this is like always the first two things that I do. And I have another preset called Drive. Let's actually just recreate this. So if you turn on the filter, you can actually use this as a clipper. And this is like all I really use it for. I'm gonna go to miscellaneous, go to high EQ 6. And if you turn it off, it doesn't make a difference. And that's exactly what I want, because what I can do is turn this drive up. So if we hit tab and we go ahead and see the output gain, it's peaking at 1.67, no matter how much we drive this. So it's going up to 1.73. So what I want to do is, so I'm not going over 0 decibels, is I want to turn this master volume down. The trick that I use is I turn the master volume down to negative 12.1, and then you can actually click on this mix knob right here and go to the level and set that to -1. And now you can see that on this track, we're peaking at -1. So that's a really good way to be able to like make your sounds loud in Serum. So let's listen to this with the kick and see if we need to do anything else. That sounded really good. I really like the way that sounds. So let's just go to our envelope. Ooh. Oh, I really like how that sounds. So a way we can control that is we can go into the matrix and find that modulation. So envelope 1, it's controlling the filter cutoff. Let's set the auxiliary source to macro 1. We'll call this filter envelope. This filter envelope basically is like a dry wet for how much this envelope is going to be modulating the filter. So then we can do another, and this is what I do. I just play around with different elements like the detune. And I'm like, maybe I want a macro to adjust that. So I'll put macro 3 on the detune. We'll call this detune. And maybe I want a macro on the random phase in case I want to turn the random phase up a bit. But it's really just so key. I just love the way that this extra punch. In the beginning, it just gives the sound a lot more like presence. I really like how that sounds. And that's basically my side bass. It's super tedious, but I do think all of that work really does pay off in the end because side basses are a lot harder than they seem. It's not like doing one poorly isn't hard, but doing really great side basses is kind of tricky sometimes.